Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, what's going on, mister? Are you ready
Good morning, Brian. What's that?
Are you ready to get to it?
I'm ready. I'm feeling like late 60s, early 70s vibe going on today in my life. Sorry, I feel like I got some like hair hanging down on my
Late
nose.
60s, early 70s. So your teenage years?
Yeah. No, not really. Not really. That was more my elementary years. My pre-elementary years.
Right.
Yeah, far out, groovy, and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Rocking the tie-dye. I'm
right.
sorry that I did not get the memo to wear mine today.
You did not, but you got some other sort of evil-looking clown dude going on there.
It's like it's a Harley shirt, but it's got like a Joker or something on it. It's kind of
okay. That's what
scary looking thing, right?
Yeah,
or Joker, Jester, whatever they call those things.
Yeah. Well, very good. Here we are again, Sunday morning.
Yes, indeed. Got to do it.
Talking about important things.
Yes, interesting things.
And what is that interesting thing this morning that you want to talk about?
So this occurred to me, and again, this is another one of those that I don't have a specific incident that I can call out or something that was going on that caused me to think of this. It's more of a cumulative effect of things that I've witnessed over time. There may have been more, here recently, but ultimately, the subject I wanted to discuss this morning has to do with nix your nasty, right?
Okay.
Assholiness is a choice. And I don't know if assholiness is a word. It is now.
It is now, yeah.
We made it so. I just again, I don't have a recent incident that I could cite that caused me to think of this. It's just I've been traveling some here lately, and I just you notice the disposition of people as you're moving about in the public realm, and it's really interesting to watch. You'll see we've talked before about the smile experiment where
right.
just randomly smile at people and see if it comes back, and most of the time it does. Not all the time. There are these people out there that just have this horrible nasty disposition, and it makes me wonder why. What is going on in this person's life that is how they feel they need to operate. It's sad to watch. It's interesting and it's sad at the same time. So I just wanted to talk about getting rid of that nastiness, and because it comes across not just negatively externally to other people and how you interact with them, it's negatively impacting whoever that person is internally. It's caustic and not good for you.
Yeah, I think that very final comment that you made for me kind of sums it up. I think it's more harmful to the people who are just generally nasty for whatever reason. And you know what? Honestly, they might have good reason for being nasty. And from time to time, not all the time. If it's a way of life for you, then I really feel sorry for you, honestly.
Right.
But it's harmful to them, and more than anything else, because as we know from living the life that we've lived and been around as long as we have, all that stuff comes back at you. It's it really does. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And if you're just nasty all the time, and that's sort of as you said, disposition and predisposition when you are engaged in life, that's just a really hard and sad place to live. And I just wish people would stop and think about that, and maybe even ask themselves the question, how do I come across? Or
Right.
why do people think I have a chip on my shoulder? Or what is it about the way I present
Yeah.
that makes people repel me?
I think, that's great. Ask yourself the question. I think also it's very beneficial when you pay attention to the feedback that the world is giving you, right? Because
Okay.
the people in the world will give you that feedback. Some more obvious and more blatant than others when you're being an ass to them or being mean to them, being mean spirited. And then, I think you just watch and people will tell you. Maybe verbally, maybe nonverbal, but people will tell you.
So what is your, what is your personal reaction, and what is your recommended reaction when you when you encounter people who are nasty? How does that impact you personally, and what do you do about it?
So again, it depends on the scenario, right? I don't think there's any one reaction that you could say, this is how you need to do this every time it happens. I think it depends. Uh,
Good
is it
point.
a one-on-one interaction? Is it a public interaction? Um, how egregious is the nastiness, right? Is it a, personal attack? Is it, insulting your family, things that care and love? Um, so I think the first thing you can do is decide whether or not this is even an interaction you need to be involved in, right? It might be something that, it wasn't a part of your life before it happened, doesn't need to be a part now, just walk away and dismiss it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it may be a situation where you have to engage with that person. And then that's one of those things where people are going to treat you the way that you allow them to treat you.
Yeah.
So, you continue to accept that behavior and allow that person to treat you in that nasty fashion, then they're going to continue to do it because they're getting away with it.
Right.
If you call
Right.
them on it, and it doesn't have to be confrontational. I've found that an inquisitive position works better in a lot of cases. Like, hey, I'm feeling or based on what you just said, I'm thinking, or you've come across in this way. Is this the way that you want to be perceived? And just kind of flip it back on them instead of attacking them back, because that's not going to be any good for anybody.
Right. Right. Yeah, you're right. That's why it all is also dependent on the specific circumstance that you're in. Because if it's just a perfect stranger that you don't know anything about, that means one thing, and maybe you just ignore it and walk away.
Right.
But if it's somebody that you know well,
Right.
um,
Unless you want to have a little, fun with an experiment of human behavior, and
yeah.
somebody's nasty to you and you're like, wow, you go home to somebody at night, right? That's unfortunate. I
Oh
feel
man,
for that person.
that would be
If you
a heck
feel
of a
like throwing
comment
some
right there.
gasoline on the fire and just seeing what happens, but I wouldn't recommend that in most cases.
Yeah. I actually didn't think about this until right now when you were talking, and it wasn't going to be a part of what I was going to say. But over the past couple years, I have been uh, doing, reading, and thinking more about this whole issue of Stoicism, the Stoic philosophy of life.
Right.
So I've gotten several books on it now, and I read them from time to time. And Marcus Aurelius is my favorite, and Epictetus and Seneca, and those are I think the ones that I know of, the three real main people. But one of the things that Stoicism, my interpretation of Stoicism, so I'm not, these guys are way beyond me, but my interpretation of what one of the principles that they're teaching is this concept that you and I have talked about many times, and that is why do you care? Why are you going to give control of your own personal mentality, your own personal peace to an external force? So
Yeah.
if somebody out there is being nasty, you get the choice, right, on how you're going to react to it. And you can react to it by confronting them and taking them on. And some people do that, and it can get ugly. All of a sudden
Right.
you have this fight between two people.
Yeah.
Or you can just say, You be you, dude. I choose not to engage in that. I mean, obviously you don't say that, but you just say, I don't know what you're going through. I hope everything turns out okay, and you just leave it alone. And maybe that decompresses the pressure a little bit. I don't know.
No, I think that's a valid point, and it goes back to whether or not you have to engage in that scenario with that person. If it's somebody you have to engage in activities with, interactions with every day, then you're going to have to do something about it. If it's somebody you're just having a casual encounter with in a public setting, I love your point. Just dismiss it, let it go. It's not worth it. Don't let them destroy your calm or disturb your calm.
Right.
You're in charge of that, and you get to decide. Even if it's somebody you interact with on a regular basis, you get to choose whether or not you're going to let that person disturb your calm.
Yeah.
And all that all goes back to the E plus R equals O, right? Events are going to occur. How you respond to them is going to determine the outcome. So if you respond in kind with somebody's nastiness, then chances are there's just going to be a greater amount of exchange of nastiness. If you respond in a more calm way, or just decide to not deal with it at all, then you're going to have a better outcome, or the probability of a better outcome.
Just this morning, I was talking to my wife about the podcast and all that, and she shared a story which, and you said it at the beginning, all of us have many stories where somebody's in a bad mood in the wrong way, they're coming across very nasty, and somebody comes into the picture, and somehow that interaction diffuses the whole situation, and it gets better instantly. And she was talking about and I know you're a big fan. I'm a big fan. She's a big fan of Wayne Dyer and all the writings that he did. And he told a story in one of his books about he was getting on a plane, going somewhere, and one of the flight attendants was just not in a good mood. And you know what it's like when somebody's like that. And it was sit down, shut up, give me your bag, put it up there. All the stuff that an angry, upset flight attendant could just make your life miserable on a plane.
Right.
And he observed all this going on, and then he reached out to her with just sort of humanity and said, "Is there anything I can do to help you? Are you okay? Is there? I'm sorry that clearly something's gone wrong, and I'm saying it probably way worse than he did. But in other words, he just extended a."
Yeah.
Wow, you look like you're having a rough day, and if there's anything I can do to help you, anything you want. And immediately, like instantly, it changed her state. She was
Yep.
like, okay, here's a human who's willing to be nice, not nasty, and not give me what I'm giving him. And it changed her state, and all of a sudden her day got instantly better. And we all can do that, right? So there you
Yeah,
go.
that's a beautiful story. I appreciate you sharing that. It's like, it reminds me of the story of the guy on the train with the kids that are just out of control, and people are judging him for the lack of parenting skills that he has and so on. But what they don't know is they just finished visiting his wife in the hospital, who just passed away from a long-term illness, and now he doesn't have a wife, and these children don't have a mother.
Right.
And it makes letting his children misbehave a little bit, or not being that parent that's taking control of these unruly kids right now, and the kid's bad behavior makes it a little more tolerable when you understand the totality of the circumstance.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a great point. What is your opportunity to maybe give that person the light at the end of the tunnel, that somebody does actually care, and there's no need to be nasty like that. It's really harmful to you, the individual that's being nasty.
Totally. Yeah. Give some grace.
Little kindness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and when you come across those people, it does make you wonder, what's going on in their life. Why do they act like that especially if it's somebody you've seen do that many times. It's like, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it could be because of life circumstances, and that's their choice on how they respond to it, because they don't know any better, and they don't realize that a response like that is actually creating more of the bad circumstances that found them, in that way to begin with.
Right.
Instead of shifting it, it's kind of, it makes me think of the fake it till you make it, or the act as if phenomenon, where, you want to be happy, you want to be positive, you gotta, start acting that way. That's how it starts, right? So gratitude is another thing that can help. Once you recognize the fact that you're in one of those nasty moods, or coming across with a negative disposition, then check yourself and use something positive to get you out of it. Think about something you're thankful for,
Right.
and express that gratitude, because it'll shift it. It's weird how it works. I can't explain it other than just saying it works, or at least that's been my experience.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's a
So
choice. How you show up, how you interact with people, your disposition is your choice.
that's right.
Choose
Yeah.
kindness,
There you go.
choose happiness, choose positive interactions with each other. Love is the message here on this planet. That's the lesson we're here to learn. And until you learn it, you probably are going to struggle.
That's right. Amen. Well, thank you for picking the topic. It was wonderful.
You are certainly welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's something worth talking about, and
Absolutely.
it's a very common thing, I think, that we all experience. You see, you can't open any kind of social media platform and not come across a video where, and I don't know where the term Karen came from per se. I know that it's probably that the name Karen has gone way down in the names used to name your
Yeah.
children, as a result of this, I'm sure. But I don't know where the first incident occurred where somebody started referring to these nasty women that are interacting with people as Karens.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe but
No,
yeah,
I have no idea.
you can't open up anything in social media without finding something like that, and it makes you wonder why do people feel the need to interact that way? Let's just have a good time. Let's be nice to one another.
Yes, indeed. One of the reasons that I don't do a lot of social media, I do some LinkedIn, but that's it. All the other stuff. You're right. It's nasty.
Yeah.
It
There's a
don't
lot of
matter
good stuff
what
out there
it is.
too, right? And there's good that can come from that, but it's definitely disturbing that there's as much negativity and people reacting that way to one another.
You bet. Absolutely.
All right, so be nice.
Be
Don't
nice.
be nasty. Nix your
You're
nasty.
nasty. Yeah.
Assholiness is a choice. Don't be one.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. All right, you ready?
Do your thing over there.
All right. I did my thing. No matter who you are, where you are, and what you're doing, make sure between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride and nix your nasty.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.